All right. Hello, my name is Meg,
Hi, my name's Jenny.
and you are listening to Amateur Hour. Today we're here with 10,000 Teeth out of Port Huron, Michigan. Do you guys want to go through and just give yourselves a little introduction?
Sure. I'm Alex. I play guitar.
I'm Michael. I play drums.
Oh, I guess already got a mic. My name's Hayden. I play bass.
I'm Brady Fye. I do vocals and play guitar sometimes.
Sweet.
Sometimes.
Do you guys want to tell us a little bit of how you got started playing your instruments or how you got started in music in general?
Oh, I'm first. I picked up guitar around the time I was 12. I didn't get serious about it when I was 14, but I grew up in a kind of musical household. Always heard, not just my dad, but from both my parents. My mom turned me on to Boston, Queen, and Journey, and my dad turned me on to the harder hitting stuff like Pantera, Megadeth, Slayer, stuff like that. It's been a downhill spiral of extreme music from there.
All right, yeah, I grew up listening to almost all music. Like I went through a bunch of different phases. But when I was super little, like 7 or something, my parents got me this drum set that I didn't really play. I was like smacking it because I was like 7 or something, and I had friends over. They broke it, but I always liked rock music, and when I moved to Port Huron, because I used to live in Fraser, my birthday the year after that, so like in 2014, I got a drum set, and I actually kind of started playing drums. And then, like, middle school, high school, I just did percussion, and I fiddled with guitar, but, like, I've always just done drums. So that's basically, overall, that's been it.
I grew up in a musical household. Which mic would you prefer? I'm holding 2 mics right now. Sennheiser? I got you.
Sennheiser's a good mic.
All right, good mic. But I grew up in a musical household. My dad's always played guitar, Jimi Hendrix, Pearl Jam, stuff like that. And he actually played in the church in our choir when I was little. And so that was always a big influence on me. But I didn't really get into playing guitar until I played Guitar Hero 3.
Word.
And I just, I didn't do it with the actual guitar controller. I just did it, with the Xbox controller because I was a scrub. But I got really good at it. And one day I was just like, I'm practically doing this on expert mode. Why don't I just learn guitar? So I started learning guitar. My first song was, One by Metallica. And that was, 8 years ago. And since then, I've just been playing guitar, and then we couldn't find a bass player anywhere near Port Huron, so I had to take the L and be the bass player, which I've been getting more used to now, but guitar is definitely, my go-to instrument. I love playing guitar.
I actually didn't know that about you, Hayden.
Oh,
I didn't know
really?
you were originally a guitar player.
Yep.
Pretty
eight years or so.
damn good, too. Really good.
Honestly,
Thanks, Brady.
you guys don't need a bass player. It's fine.
I'll just leave.
3 guitars.
Bass is necessary. But anyways, the way that I got into music was basically my dad was in a band just years before I was conceived, shit like that. Anyways, fuck. Oh, my bad. $10. Trying to think. Oh my god, this is terrible. I cannot.
Just flow, man. Just flow.
I cannot remember where. No, I'm sorry. So yeah, pretty much when I was born, I was out the womb listening to Pantera and Damage Plan. I was really big into Dimebag. I listened to all the Korn, Slipknot, all what was 90s metal. And my dad was a guitar player, which heavily influenced me because I was like, ooh, I like guitar. I like that. So I ended up getting into drums first, and I was playing drums. Didn't work well because my parents hated it. It was too loud. So I picked up a guitar, and they were like, yeah, that's better. That fits you better. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to be a guitar player. And I kind of slacked off. And then I'm trying to think of how old I was. I think I was 8. I got my first guitar. Learned Walk was my first song.
Went off.
Then it was just metal on from there. I didn't really listen to any kind of classical, any soft music. It was just all
You were born.
heavy.
Yeah, you were born for death metal.
So kind of. I mean, I wasn't even into death metal before I got with these guys. I was just all Pantera, groove metal, kind of thrash metal, Metallica, stuff like that.
I can't even imagine that.
Yeah. So I got together with these guys, and I was like, I want to sing a little bit. So I started doing it, and they were like, dude, try some growling. And I started doing this low, gargly stuff, thinking as a joke. And then they were like, dude, you got to keep doing that. I was like, all right. So now I just growl like corpse grinder. But that's basically my music upbringing.
You do it well.
Yeah.
He does.
So, where did the band name 10,000 Teeth originate from?
Great question. Great story right there. We are actually in his garage, Brady's garage, of winter of 2021, like in the beginning of winter. So like February, March, like borderline April. And we had so many practices where we're like, all right, we're going to come up with a name. And we'd try to like jot stuff down and whatnot and have ideas, but nothing clicked. And then we're all like, all right, let's maybe look at song lyrics. So I went to all my CDs, looked through the Pantera lyrics, didn't really find much. And then I went through Mastodon lyrics and I actually found a line called 10,000 Tongues in Sultan's Curse, I think it is, the song off of Emperor's Sand. I showed it to these guys. I was like, what do you think? They're like, I don't know about tongues. And I'm like, okay. So we slept on it. And then I woke up and I was like, teeth, dude. Teeth. I said the chat and they're like, hell yeah.
Here, let me tell this part. Like, it was, what time was it that you started it? It was like 3 in the morning or when was it? You just
I don't
woke
think it was
up?
3 in the morning.
I thought it was 3
It was
in the
like
morning.
12, maybe 1 or something.
Maybe, I don't know. I sleep in a lot. But I remember waking up and the chat's blowing up and I looked and all of a sudden in all caps, 10,000 teeth. And I was just like, what? What's going on? And they're like, that's the band name. And I'm like, hell yeah.
I love the enthusiasm, truly. I didn't know you guys didn't form until 2021.
We were originally, me and Mike got together originally with
Okay.
our old bassist Nate, and we did grunge covers actually first. We did, what did we do, like some Soundgarden, some Nirvana, and some Alice in Chains?
Yeah, so originally, I started working at Little Caesars like junior year of high school. And then I met this kid, Nate. And in high school, up in Port Huron, I didn't really know that many kids who were like super into like metal and rock and stuff like that. But, Nate was really into Alice in Chains. And, he was playing hip hop and exposed me to like indie music, stuff like Mac DeMarco, which, it was cool. And then he threw on Alice in Chains and it like blew my mind. Because Hayden and I tried to form like a death metal band like a few years ago because one of our mutual friends went to his school and then, that's how we found out. So I knew Hayden played guitar. I knew Nate played bass. I kind of played drums, Alice in Chains tribute, and then we kind of played like other stuff and then just grunge in general. And then we started playing heavier stuff. And then we got Brady for the first gig at Nate's backyard Halloween bash.
Yeah, which literally they had asked me like a few months before. They were like, their bass player hit me up because I knew his cousin from school, and he was like, "Yo, we're doing like this band thing, and I know that you're like a guitar player. We need a guitar player. Would you be interested in jamming with us?" And at first, I looked at that and I was like, "No." I didn't hear back for like another couple months, I think it was, and then he texted back and he was like, "Are you still interested in coming to jam with us?" Like, he sent me the address and he was like, "You should come hang out." And I was like, all right, yeah, I'll bring my guitar and come over. And then just from then on, it clicked with these guys. Started, and I was like, the grunge is cool, but I wanna play some original stuff, and that's where it really just started.
Started making metal and stuff.
Yeah.
Fun fact, we were originally called Garfield as this grunge
This
cover.
is true.
Oh.
I joined, and they were like, "Oh yeah, by the way, our band name is Garfield," and I just looked at them like,
I really liked Garfield at the time.
We used to take Guitar Center trips, and this might have been the PA system trip because we used to practice in my dad's garage, and we didn't have like a mic or anything, and no one was really singing at that point anyway. We just wanted mics and PA because, like, garage band, that's cool. So we went to Guitar Center, and we were talking to this guy that works there, and he's like, "You guys are in a band?" We were talking to him. He's like, "What's the band name?" And Hayden goes, "Oh, we're Garfield."
Just turned around.
Walked away. Yeah, he walked away. It was funny, like, it's not like he was being a jerk or anything, because it was like a walk away kind of name. It was like,
Yeah, 10,000 Teeth definitely sounds more like death metal band for sure.
Yeah, it has
Thank
a better
you.
ring to
Yeah,
it.
for sure.
So the transition of like you guys playing heavier stuff, so that pretty much happened later, like when you got the name or when Brady came in?
When Brady came in, pretty much,
Okay.
just started laying down fat riffs.
I just came in right
Groovy
out of the
stuff.
bat and was just like, because Pantera, they were
Right.
playing, I was like laying down groove riffs, and they were like, yeah, we're getting into this. And then later on, it started getting old, and I was like, we need something heavier.
Word.
So
So we're talking a lot of bands right now. Can you guys all like kind of go through like what you think are your guys' biggest influences towards your music, both personally and like in the band?
As a band, without a doubt, it's probably Pantera, Metallica, and Slayer. All bands that we listen to all the time.
Gojira.
Gojira.
Gojira, dude.
I was gonna
Gojira.
say
Definitely
that.
Gojira.
I love Gojira. Sorry. Said the F word.
could you forget?
You misspoke.
But me individually, personally, I got into grunge a lot in middle school and high school. That was kind of my main area, and I got really into Metallica, Megadeth, like all those old school thrash bands. But then I saw a Dying Fetus music video, and I just saw him like sweep picking. I was like, "Yo, this is fucking baller!" Oh, I did it again. Sorry.
$20.
But
We're at 40.
What?
oh
You guys are good.
oh
You guys are
shoot!
good.
No.
All right, we're good. We're good. But I got into a lot of extreme stuff real fast just because I like the aggression of the guitar work and just like the vocals. And I was in a weird point at life at that point, so I just really liked the angst that was in a lot of it. So like since 2017, just been a lot of extreme metal and whatnot for me. What you guys say, Mike?
Okay, so yeah, collectively he was spot on, like with the bands like that collectively probably impact us the most. And I don't know, it's hard. Individually, I really like almost everything, and it's like growing. So it's like I don't like I'll go with like prominent stuff. Like Pantera, that's probably like my number one. I just like the energy and like, the teamwork and like the in unison kind of like, feel where it's like, you look at Pantera, you like everything going on. It's just like a good band. You hear every instrument. Because I did concert band in high school. So it's like a lot of music that I like generally is like, like there are bands that are like super drummy or like Primus. I love Primus, but like, they're kind of bass oriented. But like, I really like bands that kind of have like, everything, like Red Hot Chili Peppers, for example. It's hard. Like thrash metal, it's super guitar-y, but like just something about everything in unison working together. It just sounds really cool. It sounds really big and powerful. Bands like that I like the most.
Really, I agree with you because the first time I heard Pantera, I think that was the appeal for me too, where there was like, obviously you have like dime solos, you have Vinny's drums, like everything, like the bass lines are sweet, like, but there's nothing that like always stood out over the other. Like it's such a well-rounded sound, and then you go and watch like the music videos, and like they were a family. Like you can hear it in the music too. I think that was a big appeal for me over other types of metal.
Yeah, they hit the group influences on the head, but personally, my favorite band of all time is Exodus, and I don't see that changing anytime soon. But overall, like I said earlier, just when around the time I hit like my sophomore year, anything that was aggressive and had an edge to it, I just jumped at it completely. So I love a lot of thrash and death metal. Primarily is where my heart is. Exodus, stuff like Carcass, like 90s Carcass, I absolutely adore. Death, Chuck Schuldin's Death is a huge influence on me. King Diamond is another one too that not a lot of people bring up because I know he's kind of an acquired taste. Not everyone likes the falsetto, but the guitar player of his solo band, Andy LaRock, I just completely fell in love with the melodies that he creates. It's incredible. But yeah, that's me. Brady.
What was the question again? I'm sorry.
Your favorite bands.
Favorite bands? Top 5 right now are obviously Gojira, Pantera, Damage Plan. I've been listening to 200 Stab Wounds a lot, and I'm just getting into Revocation. And that's what I'm listening to right now. Those are primarily my favorite bands. I'm starting to get into the more death metal because I'm a groove freak. But
I also really like Lamb of God. You forgot to
Yes.
mention that one.
Lamb of God. Love Man of God. Lamb of God. So good, especially their new record.
Yeah, so with all that inspiration, what is your creative process like? How do you guys go about, making music, doing your band practices, that type of gig?
Back in the day, it would just be like Brady would like have this absolutely just messed up riff, and we'd be like, "Oh, this is awesome. Let's make a song." And then he would just keep throwing riffs down, and we bounce off of each other. But it's kind of been the same since then. We all kind of contribute in our own ways. Like we'll lay something down and be like, "Hey, is this cool? Is this cool?" And then we just kind of work on it all together. We like to use this analogy of like pushing the ball around, the ball being the song, and so we try to push it around to just make it bigger and bigger and just make it a better song.
You're making a snowball.
Yeah,
Yes.
like a giant snowball rolling in the snow. And that's exactly what we do. It's just like we go into the practice room, someone has a riff, or they just start noodling around and get some, and we're like, hey, this sounds interesting. And everyone just starts kind of jamming, and usually we started just recording them on our phones, and we start taking riffs that we think are good, and we're like, oh, we need to pair it with this. And then we just start writing like 3 songs out of like one jam session.
We jam a lot. We like jamming.
How many times a week do you guys practice?
Saturday and Sunday. We wish it was more.
Yeah, schedule conflicts.
And Alex lives in Garden City.
An hour 20 drive away
Every weekend. This guy's a
You're
soldier.
a dedicated
Oh,
man.
dang.
He is.
Yes. So how do you guys go about like how long does it usually take you to produce and make a song? That type.
It depends, but usually around like a month and a half is about the time that a full song instrumentally will be done. Lyrics take a second depending on what we're doing, but like instrumentally, like each song's probably done within like a month and a half to like 2 months.
Yeah.
How do you guys go about your recording sessions and everything like that? Is that like sort of something you guys do on your own, or do you go somewhere to do that?
Sorry. Yeah, nice. I got both microphones here. You can take that one.
Sick.
For the recording, like we just talking about like actually being in the studio or just like hobby kind of.
He has a DAW on his computer, a digital something workspace, so he makes a lot of the demos. He'll do like drum recordings, and he'll like
I have a drum machine
program.
that I can program piece by piece, like every drums. Like usually for our demos, we record them on my phone. I'll take them and I'll put the audio file in there, and then I'll listen for every kick, snare, any kind of thing, and I'll just place it piece by piece through this MIDI drum program. Record guitars over it with like the metronomes, bass, and then they never do vocals because I can't be that loud. But that's how most of our demos go, and pretty much that's how the recording process for some upcoming stuff pretty went.
Yeah. So where do you guys get like lyric inspiration from? Is it like personal experiences, outside world experiences?
Good question. We kind of I don't know. What do you guys say about this, Mike?
It's really everything. So, like, same thing with songs. Like, when we write songs, we try to do something different with every song. So, like, the EP that, will come out hopefully really soon. Every song, like, one's, like, thrashier, and one's, more like death metal, one's groovier. And we do the same thing with lyrics. So, basically, every time we think about a song, which is really hard to do, it's the hardest thing to do, we try to do something really different, like, from personal experiences, like Brady and Death on Water.
Yeah, I was about to say.
Yeah. That one has a lot of inspiration from like Brady, but us directly, because it's based on Dow Chemical, which is across the water from Port Huron in Canada. It's this big chemical plant, and they've been known to dump into the rivers that are over there and just like, pollute. So we're like,
here's the story. Like I think I lived there for like a couple years, and it's where my grandmother and like my parents' parents basically grew up, and they call it Chemical Valley. And like right there where the river is, right across from where I used to live, is just this giant factory called Dow Chemical. And I remember because like every Monday, I think at like noon, they had this siren going off, and I believe that's like when they dump chemicals just in the water, or it's like overflowing or something. And I was like, you know what, that is like so messed up. And I was like, I feel like that could be like a good like song or something. I remember looking at they had the giant smokestacks, and it just had DOW, Dow, and I was like, what could be put to something like that? And it was like, there's the river there, death on water. It's like factories, pollution, stuff like that. And even in the song, like there's like little harmonic stuff, and the harmonics match the exact same tone of the alarms that happen when they dump the chemicals in the water. Like I paid a lot of attention.
Yeah, I love the attention to
and
detail
just
about
added
that.
like little Easter eggs, basically.
Yeah.
I remember when you told me like how you guys wrote that song and what the inspiration was, and I was like actually struck.
Yeah.
Like that was so creative, but also just like horrific. But that also kind of shows a lot of inspiration from like, again, like bands like Gojira, who are super like environmentalists and things like that, and write a lot of songs about like destruction of rainforests and things like that. So that was really cool to hear. And easily my favorite song by you guys.
Oh, thanks.
It's like all of our favorite songs too, isn't it?
I love playing Death on Water.
It's such a fun song to play, especially live.
Yeah, so is that all of your guys' favorite song to play live? Because that was another one of our questions, too.
It's my favorite song to play live.
That's hard to say. It's like picking between your children in a way. Like, you know, Dow is definitely a fun one. It always gets a good response from the crowd. All the harmonies are always fun to play. I really like playing Mass Media Massacre live.
Mass Media's fun.
That one always gets a really good crowd response. In a way, they all have their strengths to them in the live
Each
setting.
other's shining moment.
Yeah, exactly.
I like Unconquerable. I really like that one because it's this cool thing because I've been drumming for a long time, but like I wasn't like seriously like drumming. So I started doing it when we like formed the Alice in Chains tribute band, and then at some point I got this idea where, and I stole it from Vinnie Paul, but I had my China cymbal over here, and then I thought it'd be really cool if I pointed over there because he does like some of that.
Yeah.
So Unconquerable, yeah. I made this thing up. I mean, it's probably been done before, but like in my mind, I kind of made it up. And it was just really cool beat, and I like to do it live. It's just one of my favorite things to...
Good drum parts in that song.
Yeah, it's just groovy, and it's fun, and it's fast, and it's just really fun. All of them are fun, but like... That's definitely like...
Yeah.
You have a favorite child.
It's also...
A little bit.
That song is also very fun because that was one of the main songs that I featured my pitch shifter effect, because I only did that for like one other solo, and Becoming Pantera, you know, that has the main riff, and I was like very inspired from that. I was like, I want to do something with the pitch shifter, so I just brought it when he was making that drum beat, and I was like, this fits like Lego bricks.
Yeah.
And we just got to keep building the castle or whatever the Lego set is.
Unconquerable is sick, but I personally don't like playing it live because I play like a bass solo in it, and it's cool, but like I'm a guitarist at heart, so the bass solo just kind of sounds like a guitarist playing a guitar solo on the bass.
Still good though.
Yeah, thank you.
The wah on it, the bass wah, it's good.
Thanks.
I don't think there's anything wrong with your solo, but I was gonna say, I know we talked earlier about how long it takes for us to write songs. Wasn't Unconquerable written in like 2 or 3 weekends?
Literally.
I think that one was the quickest.
That one was 2 weekends of full work. It was like the first weekend we got all but like the very ending. Next weekend we got the ending and then slapped lyrics on it, and boom, it was done. And we were like, this song's a banger.
So the lyrics flowed pretty easily on that one then, huh?
Yeah. And it's also one of the very, like, that's the one with less lyrics than any other song, right?
Yeah, we have like one verse.
It is like
2 verses.
Like 2 verses, just 2 short verses, and then the rest is carried by the music, and then 2 breakdowns.
Because one was just not enough.
Not enough.
So you guys released Frostbite not too long ago. Do you want to talk about like how long did that take to like write, record, release, like artwork? Like, do you guys want to talk about a little bit about like your release plan for that?
Yeah.
We originally made it. Give me this mic. I don't want this mic. Yeah. Anyways, we originally wrote that with our previous vocalist Connor Finn in the winter of 2021, around right before we got our name. We were just jamming some riffs, me and Brady, and we eventually came up with the main riff, and it was going pretty smooth, but we were stuck at this one point after the chorus, like, what comes next? And then Connor's like, add a breakdown. We're like, oh, yeah. And then we did, and then pretty much the song just kind of like snapped together. This guy like sat in a garage and like wrote the lyrics as he was freezing in a garage.
Yeah, so
The inspiration. behind
Frostbite,
it.
like the original lyrics, because Connor rewrote the lyrics, which was totally cool, and it's even better. Like I think it's cooler with the lyrics that he wrote. And you know, he had a big influence on the song. It definitely wouldn't sound anything like it does now without his influence. But I sat in our garage because it was always cold as crap, and like
Yo.
we kept thinking about that, and I wanted to write something, or somebody said Frostbite. I don't know who came up with the name.
That was me. I had a demo song. It was just because I do my guitar recordings at home, just like little song demos that was besides the band, and one of them was called Frostbitten, and I was like, yo, that could be like a cool song name, and they were like, dude, Frostbite. that sounds cool. And
Yeah.
we almost did it. Well, no, we
You did
did
it.
do
You did
it.
the CrossFit. Yeah, you did it.
but just totally different song.
It was basically about us, like, it would be super cold, and then, we'd take off our jackets or take off, like, our beanies and stuff, kind of as we were jamming. And, I don't know, I really liked that idea of just getting together and then doing what we love. And it's just like, it's like metal, like steel, like we're igniting the steel, like there's something that, and like the lyrics. And it's just, we're creating like a flame. Like, like we have like frostbite, and we're just trying to warm up, like in the cold. It was so long ago since I wrote or looked at those lyrics, but that was kind of like, the thinking behind the original
Playing
lyrics.
in a cold garage sucked, dude. Like my fingers, dude, we were so cold. Like not even playing. That kind of sucked.
I used to wear like 3 sweaters and 3 pairs of like sweatpants with jeans over top, and I go to practice and try to play, and my hands would be the only thing that's uncovered, and it would be so hard to play. Like I'd sit there and it's just like, I'm like, we need to get a heater in here.
Yeah.
And we
Good old-
couldn't, so that's when we ended up going to my garage.
Well, we got a really bad heater.
Oh yeah.
So we thought that this heater was just going to be like a button, and it created heat, right? No, it wasn't that at all. So what we did, it was like this weird propane tank we set up, and we like had to light the gas, and then Hayden was like the main dude. He was just holding the button because otherwise, if we didn't press the button, it stopped. So we figured if we keep holding the button, eventually it'll just be warm enough and it'll stay on. But it wasn't. It wasn't like that at all.
Didn't work. We had to move garage.
Yeah.
I feel like the best space heaters were in your school counselor's office for no reason. Like, it's fully heated building, but they got the best space heater.
They do.
Every time.
It was worth it every time, too.
Yeah.
for
I go in
sure.
there and be like, yeah, I just need some help. Cozy on up. So, okay. Playing in the garage, not always a great time. Can you talk about when you, like, performed on stage that was absolutely just not a good time? Like, just a performance you were not vibing for.
We played in front of a bunch of kids at
Not
at
the
a
kids.
Flipside Record. Okay, so there's this place in Berkeley called Flipside Records, and they just had a grand cool place. They had a grand reopening, and so one of the people there asked us to open or something. And I'm like, yeah. Well, actually, I went to the record store because I was passing out flyers, and then I gave him my card, and he was like, well, we'll keep you in mind. And then eventually they got back to us. But anyways, we go to this event, and we didn't realize it was like a family kind of thing.
no.
It was totally, dude. Like there were so many children there, so many like moms and dads, and we just did our thing right in front of them. But it was just like did we ended up like editing Manifest Suicide? We didn't wanna scream at
we just
kids.
didn't play
We
it.
didn't even play.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we didn't
well,
play it.
because we thought
Too
like
brutal.
we were thinking like, oh, it's a record store show, it'll be a metal audience, No, it's like a carnival. Like, there are kids
In
eating
a
hot
parking
dogs.
lot.
They had a
Yeah.
kiddie pool. Like,
So funny.
and here comes us coming up doing our thing. Like after us, I think like wasn't it like a 6th grade like marching
Yeah.
band went on after us.
Like right after we got off, there was just like this whole marching band just like lining up ready to play.
Dude, it was
And
awesome.
they were like, we were trying to get our gear moved, and they're like in the van.
Jazz improv group, 10,000 Teeth, 6th grade marching band. Best lineup, best
Lineup of
lineup
In that
of the year.
order.
It was a great show though.
So what songs did you guys end up playing then?
I think we played everything except for Manifest Suicide. Everything that was done by that point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly, you probably inspired a couple kids that day.
Hope we did.
Yeah,
There was
for
some
sure.
kids watching.
Rocking
There was
out,
a
right?
lot of parents that
Yeah.
were just sitting there watching too. Like, so like they started backing up, but they all stayed and watched.
All
like
type of
everyone.
reactions. Yeah.
They were
And
just
then there
opening
was
up
like
the
people
pit.
recording, and I
Yeah.
was like, I wonder where I'm gonna find these videos. Like, hopefully nothing bad.
You're on a Facebook Tupperware group chat.
Yeah, right. So that was your guys' worst performance, which honestly doesn't even sound that
No.
bad performing for a group of kids. But what was your like best performance that you guys have had?
I really enjoyed Marysville Metal Mayhem too.
Yeah.
I just felt so comfortable on stage, and I was like running around before we even started, and I was just so pumped. And during Unconquerable, there's a long section where I'm just strumming zeros, and so I'm like, all right, I'm strumming zeros, I can run. So I run off stage and I run in the crowd. I do my circles. I get back on stage, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I just ran so much. And that day, I don't know why, but I was stressing out really bad, so I had like 13 something cigarettes prior, so I was all nicked up, and I just felt vomit coming. I'm like, oh, this isn't gonna stop, and so I ran off stage near the end of the breakdown, and I swing my bass into Dom from Catharsis, the drummer, and I just start puking chunks on the lawn.
Oh God.
They're like, get his hair, get his hair. You
And
were right
that
there.
was-
I was at the table like right to the left of you, and I turn around and I just see you like blowing chunks, and I was like, oh God.
And that was right at the end of Unconquerable. And I remember we finished that last of the breakdown, and was Death on Water, just before the last song of the night. And I was like, Death on Water, expecting him to come in with the bass, and it was quiet, and I'm like, where'd he go?
Yeah.
Where did he go?
Brief intermission.
And then there's someone over in the crowd. He was like, he's
It
throwing
was Justin
up.
Abel.
And
Justin
everyone
Abel
was
was
like,
like,
yeah.
And there was also Matt Keats. He was like, he's puking.
Yeah, and then Justin was like, do not come over here. He is fine.
Yeah.
Like, 'cause
Justin's a real one for that.
he was. And then they're like, I was gonna say something like introducing the band. All of a sudden we're like, Hayden, coming from the crowd. I'm like, what's going on? Hayden. And he gets back on the stage. And they're like, yeah. And then it quiets down. He's like, I threw up. And they're just like, yeah. And then we tuned. You was like, you get some water. I finished introducing the band, and then we went into the song. But that was an
was
awesome
wild.
show.
And that was your favorite show? Yeah. man.
That was one of the best shows like ever.
When we were writing these questions, I was really making a bet on whether that was going to be your favorite stage moment or your least favorite, and I was guessing favorite.
Well, maybe
Seems
not
pretty
while you were
appropriate.
doing it, but afterwards.
Yeah.
That's funny. It's a good
I had a lot
story.
of fun on stage even after I puked, because then we went into Sandblasted.
Yes.
Yeah.
Where
Oh my God.
he actually got a chance to play guitar. I just gave him the guitar.
Gotta puke and rally. For sure. Okay.
So I guess that's kind of a good transition. Do any of you get like performance anxiety?
I do a little bit, but I've gotten over it and I've been working through it, getting more comfortable on stage. But I think it's just one of those things for me personally that I just kind of got to work through.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not going to go away anytime soon. It's just got to, get on stage, do it more, get more comfortable.
One of those things you can't let it stop you from doing what you love. So,
Oh, definitely not. What was the question again?
do you get performance anxiety?
I'm sorry. I just
You're
forget
good.
the
Answers
question.
it
and I
and then he
blank.
asks,
great,
what's the
Brady.
question?
But there have been moments like when I first joined these guys, like that first show that we did, we were doing all grunge covers. It took only 2 weeks. They were like, we're doing the show in 2 weeks. Can you learn these songs? And I was like, yeah. So I got it down. And I remember playing that night, and I was nervous. And then after that, we became 10,000 Teeth and started trying to play out, and I was like nerve-wracked. I
Yeah.
was like, I am going to be so bad at this guitar right now. And then it got even worse when I started doing vocals for a second, because I was like, oh, now everyone's going to hear me. I got to keep my voice intact.
Yeah.
I got to start practicing. No. But it turned out fine. And now I just love playing. It's a totally different adrenaline rush. It's just great.
Yeah, you guys are like the nicest people ever, and then you turn to absolute feral animals on stage, and it's
Thank
the
you.
funniest thing to watch.
It's awesome.
All right. So I thought I was super confident. Like the Halloween show for me wasn't that bad because it was weird. So here was like Nate's house. Here was the garage. Like here's like the backyard, like right here, and then we were playing right here, facing a main street because we didn't want to get in trouble. And I guess there was like a legal thing to that. So we weren't really facing the audience. We were kind of turned over. Wasn't that bad. But our first show at the Rec Bowl, I was super confident. I'm like, I'm not going to have anxiety. And then I got on stage, and it was like, oh, crap. Like, everything. Like, it. I can't remember how well I did, but, I was super anxious, even though it kind of lessened. But after that, I don't know. I don't really have anxiety anymore on stage. I feel pretty confident. If I screw up, like, I'll laugh it off or something. But then, like, I'll, practice and make sure it doesn't happen again. But
It's so important to laugh it off.
Yeah.
So important.
Kind of like what Brady said. When I first joined the band, my first 2 shows were both Fridays back to back. I was a wreck. Like I was so beyond nervous. It was not even funny. like I think it was like before my first performance with 10,000 Teeth when was that Hamilton's Pub?
Yep.
Right? Yeah, in
Yep.
Saginaw.
Saginaw.
Yeah. I just went outside to the patio and just put my head down on one of the tables, and they're like, "You in?" I'm like, "Leave me alone." I'm like, just leave me alone. Mind you, there's like
not
3
talking.
people in the club. I shouldn't be nervous, but especially the second one at the Sanctuary, because this is the first band I joined that's actually like going places and has
Yeah.
the drive and the dedication. And I see all the 10,000 T-shirts walking through the door, and I'm like, oh god.
Is that the Malevolent Creation show?
No, this was
One of the mixers?
yeah, I think
this
so.
was one of the Evan Bright ones, the showcases.
Yeah, it was like a local showcase.
Gotcha.
But not so much anymore. No, not really. I like going crazy on stage because it's like it's a release.
Yeah.
Like it's just so much fun to get up there and go whatever's pissing me off. I can just let it out
Yeah.
on stage.
Let it flow.
Put your
Very
feelings into the music.
Yeah, put your feelings in the music. Exactly.
Yeah. So I have a question. So you discussed, having to actually practice your vocals and maintain that. So how do you maintain such like a strong vocal, like all your vocal cords are intact after screaming so hardcore?
Honestly, I have no clue.
Yeah.
I don't even know how to answer that question.
It's pure
It's just
luck.
like it started as a joke,
Yeah.
and I was like, you know what? I wonder if I could just keep doing that and just practice, like exercise whatever muscle that I'm using.
Yeah.
Hopefully, it'll just work, and it did. So I just kept going lower and lower, and then now I could just.
You got hair on your chin?
Yeah, I know.
that's okay.
Stop.
I was growing. I thought
Stop.
it was loose. I'm sorry.
Stop. but no, like I tried to do the vocals thing, and it was. Man, now you got me all.
Got
No.
him flustered.
But no,
Let this
like,
flow.
yeah, all I did was I went to the practice room because that was really the only time I could practice vocals, and I could never practice them at home because
Yeah.
parents home, it would be too loud, and I couldn't even do it in my garage at the point until we started doing it at the practice space.
Right.
So every time I just kept going on, I was just like, and finally it just got good, and they were just like, "Yeah, you're the vocalist." And I'm like,
Yeah.
"Okay."
So I guess my other question, just because I'm always curious what people in the scene are trying to do, are you guys more so banking on being like a independent band, or are you sort of like label seeking? What's going on right now?
Good question. I don't think we've talked about it a whole lot. Like, if we had a really good label that we, really like, I'm sure we would be down for some negotiations. But also, being independent and owning your own
Yeah.
music sounds pretty pog, so I like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't really know how to answer that fully because we haven't really. Do you know the answer, Mike?
No, I mean, like what you said, it's just negotiations, and because we're new to this, so like we don't really know, but like whatever seems to make the most logical sense. But like, yeah, we want to own our music and stuff. It's all new to us, so it's not like we know everything about it. But we'll take it as it comes and just try to be as smart as possible. I mean, it's a group effort with every decision we make, so
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm not really too worried about it when it happens, because if anything happens, it'll happen the right way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, just kind of letting it happen naturally.
Right on.
I know you guys said that you like it's not something you talk about a whole lot, or like not something you've like made plans for. But is there any label like specifically that like you guys are like, oh, that would be cool? Like,
I think Century Media is cool. They
Okay.
put on some good tours last year and this year, I think. Last year, Frozen Soul and Sanguisugabop, 2 modern death metal bands, signed to Century Media, and they got to tour the entire United States. I don't know if Century Media set that up or not, but it looks like they got a lot of money and a lot of bigger artists on the bill, so I wouldn't be surprised if they did.
Housecore Records.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah. So Phil and Son with Pantera, that's his record label. I think that'd be really cool. Again, I don't know. Maybe it's not a good idea. I don't know. It's just cool. It's like,
Yeah.
my favorite band, and one of the guys is like a record label, and there are cool bands on it. There's actually a band around here that's on it,
Snafu.
right?
Yeah, Snafu's on it, I think.
okay.
Yeah.
that's cool.
Yeah, right on. So, what are the most helpful mistakes that you guys have made, forming the band, getting the band together, looking at maybe potential labels, et cetera, et cetera?
Can you repeat that? I'm sorry.
Yeah. What are the most helpful mistakes that you guys have made?
Helpful
in simpler
mistakes.
terms? Yeah.
Like a mistake you've made that has made you like look back on everything you've done and like,
really improved you
Yeah.
guys. Yeah. Made you ponder.
All right.
Oh, okay. So a mistake that had like a positive.
Yeah.
Like we learned from it. Like what?
Oh, okay, okay. So, okay, yeah. All right. When we used to audition people, for some reason we kind of got too giddy when we had like people jam with us sometimes. So it's like, we should wait, for other people and not just kind of be like, oh yeah, that person's like really good, because there are certain times where somebody would audition and it'd be a little too giddy, but like we want to schedule somebody else that we think might do a good job too. So I don't know, we have like the best lineup right now. Like I wouldn't take it any other way. So yeah, I mean, there's one mistake that you shouldn't do.
Snatching the first bite.
Yeah.
I don't have any answer to this. I can't think of anything
I
off
don't know
the
what
top
you're
of
talking
my
about.
head.
We don't make mistakes.
Hey, that's cool.
No,
We are flawless.
There was one time where I literally forgot the lyrics to like half a song and I did not know what to do, so I just started blurting out gibberish. And after that, I was like, I really gotta remember these lyrics because I do not want to look like a goof on stage again,
Yeah.
singing some words to a popular song. And they're like, "That's not the right lyrics." And I'm like, "Yeah, I know. I just forgot."
So how do you remember now then?
Basically, my routine for that when we're learning songs, or like how we did mine, is when we practiced, I actually print out sheets of the lyrics in like the biggest font or like text that I could. I hung it up and I just kept looking at that. And every time I was home, I just read through it at least like 5 to 10 times each night and just like tried to remember the phrasings, listen to it like every day. And then now it's just like, it's there. I could do that with any song.
Word.
Word.
Yeah, right on. So I want to know, social media nowadays, it really gets people out there. So how do you think that social media has like affected introducing new bands into the scene, and how has it affected you guys?
Good question. Social media has been really good for a lot of artists that I've been keeping my eye on. Like, I mentioned them previously, but Frozen Soul, their Instagram game and just how, like, consistent they are has really worked for them, because I've seen them go from, like, 1,200 followers to, like, 37K, and now they're getting bigger offers. They're in the studio writing their second album, and so that's been really cool. I think we could have a better social media presence, but I don't know. I'm already on like my phone a lot as it is, and like to want to do band social media, it's like I should do it, but I don't know. I've been slacking. It's just like, nah.
It's hard to come up with good content ideas to throw out because everyone likes something different.
It's the truth,
Everyone
but I
likes
think
something
even
different.
like a lot of times people who are interested in your band want to see like the dumb stuff. Like they want
Yes.
to see you setting up for practice and just goofing off. Like the most random thing you could guess, they'd probably love to see.
True, just
that's
like filler stuff.
Yeah, that's the
Yeah.
stuff that people pay for. But it's crazy to see, like you said, like all of these bands that like started from nothing, and like their social media has brought them to become these popular bands, and how fast those numbers grow.
Yeah.
Is there any like particular posts that you guys think really like ups your game? Because I know at least for the Cyodine Boys, like they really try to focus on reels. Do you guys try and do any of those, or like?
No, we've been slacking heavily. With no reels. We'll post like some post-show footage and whatnot. Be like, hey, thanks for coming out. Thanks to these people. Here's some content. And that's how we've been kind of treating it. I think we should have a better strategy, but we haven't really like dug down and like, tried to really follow any strategy yet. But we're aware that we do. We just haven't been.
There's a future in it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Time.
for sure.
There's room for growth, guys. Room for growth.
Great.
Yeah, right on. So, with social media, I mean, you got to release like a lot of stuff on there. So, do you have any plans for like upcoming releases or anything like that?
We have a single in the works right now that's getting mixed, and when that gets mixed and mastered and we eventually announce it, we'll probably do some content with that, whether it's like guitar run-throughs or lyric run-throughs or just like showing off the artwork, maybe some reels, like a live video or something.
Yeah.
But nothing to concrete in the books, but just something like that.
I feel like nowadays too, like people kind of like push TikTok to the wayside, but I feel like a lot of bands gain a lot of traction
so
through
relevant.
TikTok.
And
It really
easily
is.
too.
I actually found Apocalypse in this entire scene through TikTok.
Yeah.
2021 in the winter, I was just scrolling down my For You page, and I saw these guys jamming like on a live. I'm like, these dudes look sick. Let me watch them. And they were playing. I forgot what song they were playing, but they were playing. And I was like, where are you guys from? And they're like, I think they said Sterling Heights, Michigan, or something like
right
that.
on.
I don't remember exactly where, but I was like, yo, that's like my backyard, yo. Like,
Yeah.
I gotta like, I
Literally.
gotta like, go to a show or something. So yeah, no, TikTok's amazing.
Yeah.
As far as like getting your stuff out there.
Yeah, and it's targeted too, so it literally will put it onto people's For You page who are interested in the type of stuff that you guys play.
Yeah.
It's really helpful, honestly. So I guess going forward, we talked a little bit about releases, but like, what are like your longer term goals? Like venues you want to play, lineups that you'd love to play on, like accomplishments in general. Do you guys have anything like that?
Want to play with Cannibal Corpse? Want to play with Gojira? Want to play, as far as short-term goals, I want to go down to Cleveland, go to the Grog Shop. Heard that's a really cool place.
Grog Shop's awesome.
Yeah. What do you guys say about this, Mike?
I mean, any venue, I think it's more about like hanging out with the other bands. Like the shows are cool, but like I don't necessarily like it'd be cool to play like, you know, bigger venues, smaller venues, like certain types of venues, but just like being able to see these other bands and be friends with these other bands and, you know, hang out with them. Like, I think that's really cool.
Yeah.
Like, you go to a show, you're talking to these people, you get to watch them, like, from the side of the stage. I don't know. Something about that I really like. Just, you know, jamming as much as possible. Like, I want to go crazy with, like, booking, like, you know, tours. Like, not that, I mean, to me, it doesn't really matter, like, individually what venue or whatever, but I just want to jam and meet a lot of cool bands.
I also want to go on tour. I'm just itching to get on the road. Open up for Hootie and the Blowfish.
Word.
Yeah.
Word. All right, so kind of getting towards the end of this, but do you guys want to talk about any more about that release or like upcoming shows that you want some people to know about?
October 29th. I don't know when this is going to be released or whatever, but if it happens to be released before the 29th, we have a show at the Diesel Concert Lounge in New Baltimore. It's called Hollow Weird. It's Salem Harem's CD release show, and everyone's going to be dressed up in costumes and stuff. Apocalypse is playing. It's going to be fun. That's going to be a real good one.
I think I did see that.
Yeah. Flyer for it.
Yeah.
Gravestones and such.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sweet.
We have no idea when mass media is coming out, though. No idea yet.
Hopefully
Alright.
before like the end of the year.
Yeah, hopefully. It's not really like directly in our hands with that yet, but as it gets closer, we'll post teasers and such and all that jazz.
We also got some really cool single artwork cooking for it.
Yeah.
I had this really good idea. I'm not going to spoil it, but I'm saying when you see it, it's pretty brutal.
Yeah.
It is pretty brutal.
So, actually, how do you guys create your artwork for like your album covers? I think that's valid, yeah.
We have like rough ideas, rough sketches, and then
Yeah,
we'll
do
try
you
to
guys
find
like
an
makeup?
artist on Instagram. He does a lot of graphic design, Brady. Like he even did our logo. Like he drew that out in whatever app that he has, or like
Yes.
I
on
do-
paper.
Like all of our logos, most of our stickers, anything that's besides like the Frostbite cover, all the logo stuff, I just do on my phone. Like I
Yeah.
draw on paper, I put it through my printer and I scan it, and then I put it through this app on my phone and just turn it into digital artwork, and I'm like, this is fun. So I just keep doing it. I like
Yeah.
making logos.
That's interesting.
You guys always have the coolest merch too, and there's
Thank you.
always
Yeah.
new merch. Like I want all of it, but I will literally go bankrupt.
He made the last shirt design that we actually had, our Death on Water with the skeleton and
I
the
need to
barrels.
get one of those.
Yeah. That's all Brady right there.
Yeah, that's dope. Do you guys have any closing thoughts that you want your audience to know about you? Anything else that you want to discuss?
Nothing off the top of my mind.
Yeah, feel pretty confident?
Yeah.
All
Yeah.
right, we'll take it.
Wait,
Thanks for having us.
Go ahead, Michael. You got
October
it.
29th. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be really cool.
It's gonna be so
Go
cool.
check it out. It's going to be really cool. At the Diesel.
The
It's on
Diesel
Instagram,
Lounge.
Facebook. You can find the information anywhere.
29th of October.
Yeah.
Sweet.
So where can we find you guys on social media
You can
then?
find us on Instagram at 10.1000.teeth. Facebook, I think it's just 10,000 Teeth. We have a TikTok. We haven't really posted to it, but we'll get that up and
We
rolling.
continue.
We have a
Yeah.
Facebook.
Yeah, exactly.
We just share stuff on there too.
Are you guys on all streaming services or just on
I believe so. Yeah.
I think it's everything but Snapchat.
Snapchat?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's DistroKid.
Who listens to Snapchat music?
Yeah, no, that's
Yeah,
valid.
what?
Who listens to Snapchat
Well,
music?
it's
Yeah.
for like the people who want to put music like on their stories, like Instagram.
Oh, okay.
And that's
Oh.
the only thing. It doesn't do it for Snapchat. But
we're on
everything else is
Instagram?
good. Yeah, like you know how you.
Oh,
do
I've
on
done it
Instagram
before. I've
stories?
posted it. Never mind.
Yeah, but it's just not on Snapchat. But hopefully.
Sweet.
Yeah. Thanks for having us.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely.
thank you.
Thanks for coming out today, guys.
Yeah, we're
Really?
so glad that you guys finally
Oh.
came out to do a show.
I thought you said it's coming out today. I was like, oh, that's quick. Wow.
Coming out today. We're editing right after this.
On the
Now we're
grind.
getting it out there. So
Oh,
get ready.
no.
Sweet. Well, I'm glad you guys finally had the opportunity to come out and hop on a show. So we'll see you at the October 29th show, hopefully. And Yeah.
Definitely. We'll see you guys there.
check out 10,000 Teeth on any social media platform and on any streaming service. Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you
you.
guys.
Goodbye.